Hello, Body of Messiah. Here we're going to cover Lesson 2 of UBP, Uncovering Biblical Prophecy. And the title of this lesson is Fire to Burn the Trees and the Grass. The section of scripture that we're going to focus on is Revelation chapter 8, verses 5 through 7. And this scripture reads, I'm specifically reading from the Tree of Life version of the Bible. It says, Then the angel took the incense burner and filled it with fire from the altar and threw it to the earth. And there were clashes of thunder and rumbling and flashes of lightning and earthquakes. Then 7 angels holding the 7 trumpets prepared to sound them. The first trumpeted, and there was hail and fire mixed with blood, and they were thrown upon the earth. A third of the trees burned up, and all the green grass burned up. This is one of the signs that is occurring right now as we see these wildfires that are running rapid throughout the United States. Places like Australia have experienced it, New Zealand. There are multiple areas throughout the world that has experienced wildfires. You have even some, very few though, in South America that have occurred. And what the scripture is saying is that these angels took incense and filled it with fire, this burner from the altar. One thing I want you to notice is that it says there was clashes of thunder and rumbling and flashes of lightning. That specific scripture is very pivotal when we come to how a lot of these wildfires are started. These wildfires usually are initiated by thunderstorms, thunder and lightning. And it is so rapid that the intensities of these thunderstorms you have thousands and thousands of strikes within like a 24-hour period, each initiating like wildfires throughout the U.S. in very dry areas. I also think that when it mentions the thunders and the rumbling and the flashes of lightning, it also mentions the earthquakes. So there's also earthquakes that are occurring. Now, the book of Revelation talks about different, like the trumpet sounding or bowls of wrath and things like that being poured out. But it specifically says here, it doesn't call this a bowl of wrath. But as we can tell, it says that the first trumpet went off, and there was hail and fire mixed with blood. They were thrown upon the earth, and a third part of the trees burned up and the green grass. When it talks about hail and fire is mixed with blood, the blood is talking about is the blood that was shed of the people, the Kedoshim, the children of the Most High God, and those who had the witness and testimony of Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ, our Messiah. When you look at Revelation chapter 17, verse 6, it specifically talks about the whore of Babylon having all of this bloodshed up under her as something that she's accomplished. She got all the blood of the Kedoshim, and it includes those who have the testimony of Yeshua. When you look in Revelation chapter 6, verse 9, it specifically talks about those who were slain for the witness of Yeshua, who are under the altar. And as Yeshua is about to open up a scroll, they're asking, how long will it be before you avenge us? Avenge our blood that was shed, our lives that was taken. And this judgment is a part of that. If you look here in 2019, I want to cover specifically dealing with the earthquakes. Earthquakes have happened throughout the world, and scales of the intensity has been lower when they're like below the Richter scale, on the Richter scale of like 2 or 1, and we don't notice. So there's been hundreds and hundreds, but it's increased to thousands since year 2000 and on. They've increased. If you look here, I looked up online and it says in 2019, there was a total of 637 earthquakes that had a magnitude of 5 or more that was recorded worldwide. This is just showing how the intensity is increasing and increasing and increasing. There were tsunamis that have been kicked off by earthquakes that usually happen. If you may recall, there was a real horrible earthquake that happened on December 26 in 2004. And the earthquake triggered this tsunami that killed over 200,000 people on the coast of India. In that same year, you had an earthquake that hit Haiti, and it wasn't that severe, but the tremors hit, an earthquake hit in Haiti in 2004, but there was not severe death. But if you fast forward to 2010, there was an earthquake that hit Haiti, and it killed hundreds of thousands of people. You'll see in 2011, Japan was hit by a tsunami that was triggered by an earthquake, and it caused the waters to be poisoned. Basically, a lot of radiation was spilled into the water because it hit a nuclear plant, that tsunami. So this is just an example to show how the intensity of these earthquakes have continued to increase and increase and increase. If you want more research as far as the lightning strikes, go and look at a site called www.bbc.com. And the title of this article is Lightning Causes Wildfires in Soaring Australian Heat. This reporter named John Donison reported this on January 15th in 2014. The next site you can go to and look is Reading Record Searchlight. The title of this article says, How a Surge of Lightning Strikes Ignited More than 500 California Fires. This article is by Matt Brannon, and it was published on August 23rd of 2020. The governor of California stated that there were wildfires, that there was a lightning storm that recorded over 12,000 lightning strikes in a 72-hour period within 3 days. And this started over 560 wildfires in California. We see how the wildfires in California have spread from not just there, but into Washington State and parts of Oregon. So this prophecy is coming to pass before us. It doesn't mean that when these prophecies are mentioned in the Bible that they're going to all happen in one day, in 1 year. They probably can reoccur, because as we know, California has always off and on had some type of fires going on in that region. And like I said, it's a part of the earth replenishing and regulating itself. But the intensity on a spiritual level is at the source of the cause of these particular judgments falling here. And we in the body of Messiah need to acknowledge that, because a lot of people are blindsided by these things going on because they feel like, they proceed on as they minister to people, not mentioning these judgments as if they do not affect the lives of believers, and they will. This is just a sure sign of the latter days and the latter times before Christ, our Messiah, returns. So we have to focus on that and be honest about that truth and teach our next generation. This should encourage people who don't know Messiah to know him and to trust in the whole word of the Most High God, because he's warned us hundreds and thousands of years in advance about these scenarios coming to pass. Well, body of Messiah, this is the end of lesson 2 of UBP, and I hope that you're able to join me for many more. And like I always say, may Adonai Elohim cover you and your family, shield and protect you, and surround you with his shalom peace. Goodbye.